So this is something we want to do. We don't really know how often, but just you know
when we can,
whenever we can. Yeah,
definitely.
definitely during the season too. Um, so yeah, this will kind of just be whatever, I guess. But uh,
We've got a
today,
rough outline of what we want to talk about, so it's not
yeah,
totally off the rails.
yeah. Well, today we're gonna kind of go through the different position groups and just kind of talk about some guys that we're excited to see and maybe what we can expect a little bit. So, what do you say we start quarterback, running back?
Sounds good. Sounds
Because
good.
those are the two rooms that I think everybody has like the clearest picture of at this point.
It's the clearest picture, at least. So as far as quarterback goes, I agree. It's Grunkenmeyer here, and then it's like pick your flavor of Bryce Baker or Keldon
Yeah,
Ryan. And I think the general public, myself included, thinks it's Bryce, and they should. Bryce is really good. I I think there's a more interesting conversation about tailback because I think a lot of people. I'm interested to get your take on this, but I think a lot of people think of it as like a three-headed between Jeff, Jeff Overton, uh, Bill Davis, and Hawkins, right?
yeah,
And say say we lose a Hawkins third game of the year, the second game of the year. Does it just become like Jeff Overton workhorse year, or do we try to fit a Tyler Mason, or do we try to fit a Kim, uh, Darius Taylor, former former linebacker, was getting tight end reps in the spring game, listed at running back.
yeah.
This guy's a Swiss Army knife, but yeah, uh, Highland Springs product. But yeah, I'm interested what you think about that room. Say an Overton or a Hawkins, because if Bill goes down, I feel like it's going to look pretty much like it would regardless, because I think that Jeff and Hawkins are probably going to be your lion's share of the carries guys. But what do you say one of those top two goes down?
Well, here's an interesting name. He was actually the second best running back of the day behind Overton in the spring game. Gray Peterson. He had 7 carries, 25 yards. I don't
It's
know
true.
that he maybe jumps ahead of a guy like Tyler Mason. I think Mason is more than capable of being like that fourth back and being kind of the next man up should
They're also
somebody.
just very different backs to
Yeah,
your like it like if that's I think it depends on who goes down. To your point, I think if one of the top two goes down, you could see Mason with that speed and like burst. I think he could usurp one of those two. I think Gray is more in the Bill role just from like a although he does have 6 inches of height on Elijah Davis, and that's just what's listed. I've heard he's shorter than that. So
yeah,
he's listed as 5'9", 230 in a very Stephen Peoples ish role.
yeah,
We should get it out of the way. We're from Galax, Virginia, so
yeah.
if you if you hear a Stephen Peoples reference here and there, it's just what it's
Yeah.
going to be. But
Or a
he's
Mark
also number
Dixon.
32. It's right there. It's right there. He's number 32. He's a bowling ball. I look at Bill Davis and I just see Stephen Peoples. Sorry, that's just that's just what it's going to be.
Yeah. I'm kind of looking through my article from the lunch pail. Don't want to give away too much content for free, obviously, but uh, I mean, yeah, Peterson, Overton, and Hawkins. Hawkins not he didn't play, but yeah, Overton, Peterson, and Davis were like the three backs that really jumped out to me in the spring game. So, uh, I think right as I was about to write about Tyler Mason, uh, they took the stats down, which was really
Mm.
annoying. Um, so I don't unfortunately have stats for Mason, but I just kind of remember him uh, kind of looking the part. I feel like
Yeah.
see if I have any notes on him. Nope, I don't. Well,
Well, back to the quarterback discussion because I feel like I kind of glossed over that and got right to tailback. But Um, we had actually talked off air about this last night, but about rumblings you hear about wildcat formations and things in practice with guys like Luke Reynolds, um, guys like AJ Brand, who just recently moved to wide receiver. Um, we had talked last night, and I still stand on it. We should be giving those reps to a Kelvin Ryan or a Bryce Baker instead of a Luke or name your non-quarterback who would be back there taking snaps. I think it'd be wasting reps, wasting in-game valuable reps on guys that a defense can know to not have to key in on the pass as much. I just think it takes away from what the offense would be capable of if you don't put a guy like Bryce back there instead of Reynolds or whoever.
Well, let's start with Gronkemeyer because I think this is like we were saying last night. This is his job to lose
Yeah.
easy. Um, he went last season went 123 of 178, 69.1% completion, which I've heard would be a school record single season at Tech. Um,
And that's
one
with not playing all the games.
no, 1,339 yards, 8 touchdowns, 4 picks, 7.5 yards per completion. I'm not going to list his rushing stats because it was ugly. A lot of
So is that
sacks.
yards per completion. That's also
Yeah, but
if we're just calling a spade,
yeah.
it's not
I
the
mean,
best in the world.
honestly, not terrible. A lot
Yeah.
of room for improvement. I'm sure a full
Especially if
year.
it's efficient like that. Like if it's not a lot of yards per completion, but you're completing 70% of your passes, I can
Yeah.
I can probably find a way to live with that. I don't know about you, but
Well, I mean, to be fair, it is a first down every other play
yeah,
too. So I mean,
yeah.
it could be worse. And also, like, it's kind of hard to pin too much on him for last season because it was very similar to like Tech. It was just a rough year for Penn State. You fire your coach halfway through. Drew Aller got hurt. Just a lot of unfortunate circumstances around that program last season. So Grunkemeyer, I'm sure will probably take a step forward this year. That completion rate might drop a bit because he'll be throwing over 178 passes total this season. But
Yeah.
um, I, it's his
Lord,
job
I
to
hope so.
lose.
I hope so. I hope he does.
Yeah, it's his job to lose. And honestly, I mean, I thought he looked phenomenal in the spring game. Uh, he just he looks the part of a starting college quarterback. I mean, in the spring game, he went 13 of
He's got some
17.
poise. He's
Yeah.
got some poise. Yeah.
He went 13 of 17, 76%, 136 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 1 sack, and he rushed for 12 yards on 3 carries. And the pick was kind of a miscommunication, I thought. I can't remember what receiver it was, but
I remember the receiver. I can't remember if it was Takai or somebody, but they came back over to the sideline and Fontel was ripping him.
yeah,
And but I think what stood out to me about Grunk, just as maybe this is like last thing on the quarterback for me, but that those first 4 or 5 plays were so nice. It's those first 4 or 5 of that first touchdown drive was it was weird. It was exactly what I think we had hoped it would look like, which
yeah,
is like throws up the seam, receivers to the perimeter, tailbacks getting chunks. Like that's and when it's all clicking, that's exactly what it should be. Because then if both things are working, the defense doesn't know what the heck to do.
yeah,
Like, okay, do we load up a box? Do we throw an extra defensive back in there? Okay, then we're gonna run the ball. If we do load up the box, then we'll just bring in extra pass protection and let him pick you apart back there. So
yeah.
it's interesting. I like it.
And
Which is actually if we are gonna is a heck of a segue to Luke Reynolds in the tight end linebacker room because my goodness,
yeah,
Chris, my goodness,
that tight end room is really nice. And last note on quarterbacks. I think Baker will be on the field
He's got to
this
be.
season because Franklin's never been afraid to run
I'd like for him and
2 or
Keldon
3
to be on the
quarterbacks.
field.
Yeah,
They're both redshirt freshmen.
and I'm
By the way,
not just talking, like, I'm not just talking VMI or Old Dominion, I'm talking Maryland, I'm talking Clemson, I'm talking Miami.
conference schedule. Yeah,
Like, yeah, they're gonna be on the field.
I,
Baker,
I I want our best athletes to be on the field, and those are
if
two of them.
if if Grunkemeyer is the most consistent of the 4 quarterbacks, Baker is probably the most dynamic. But the only thing that I think
Yeah.
keeps him out of that QB1 conversation is his inaccuracy and some of that stuff. He needs to take some steps forward throwing the football, but his legs are good enough.
Which is why I think it's a great thing that he doesn't have to be our starting quarterback this year.
Mm,
He can just sit there and take reps, both mentally and physically, hopefully,
yeah,
and just improve. And I think we have a good enough quarterback coaching staff
yeah.
this year to actually make a difference in that, which is a whole nother tangent. But kind
Notice
of
we're not talking about our starting quarterback having accuracy problems and not being able to hit receivers in the flat or
no, we're
out
talking about
routes.
our two redshirt freshman backups,
And Troy Hune,
which is
who
nice.
quick note on
Yeah,
him,
not to even mention Troy Hune, who
he
had all right time. He looked a little scared out there, but it's fine.
he's gonna be good. He's
Yeah,
gonna be all
he'll
right.
be fine. He'll be fine.
Um,
I agree.
yeah, I mean, we're talking about our backup quarterbacks here, which is a really good place to be in. It's been a long time since
It's a
I think.
problem we haven't had to have, dude.
I mean, when's the last time we felt this confident
In a starter,
in a starting quarterback? I mean, what
Gerard.
maybe? I mean, we didn't feel this comfortable about Josh Jackson. I think the fans really wanted Hendon Hooker, but the
Eh,
coaching staff didn't feel.
maybe not. Maybe not going into a season
Yeah,
since Gerard. I think Josh was like a very pleasant surprise. That Florida State game was like, oh, look what
we
we
were all
have
telling
here.
lies
Look
after
what
that.
we have here. Oh,
We
yeah. And then
were
we go
all.
and then we go home and lose to whoever we lost to.
Isn't it
East
ECU?
Carolina. Yeah, East
Yeah.
Carolina. Something like that. I wish we played East Carolina. Anyway, so moving on to tight end linebacker, we can start with tight end because that's a nice little way to kind of jump off the quarterback thing in that first drive I was talking about because your room is headed by Luke Reynolds first and foremost. I'm a Benji guy. Went to high school with the guy. I know him
You didn't just go to high school, you played with him.
for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Luke Reynolds he's a like NFL weapon. He has the receiving ability of a for those Tech fans out there, he's Bucky Hodges essentially, and it's also been a while since we've had that kind of a weapon to utilize. Bucky was a massive part of the offense while he was here, and I'm excited to see what that looks like. And then on the other side, if you want, I mean, Benji can stand up, but we've talked a lot about what the offense might look like with two tight end sets, and I think I think it would be in our best interest to put both of those guys on the field. You could you could probably make a case for like a third wide receiver if you really wanted to kind of get it aired out a little bit, but I think as far as like keeping a defense on its toes and not knowing what's coming at it, you can mix in run and pass a lot better with two tight ends on the field. And I think Benji's that other guy that he can be a great run blocking assister as well as like pass blocking chip. I'm not expecting the guy to one on one an edge here, but like he can get enough into a guy to make his presence felt and then get out to a flat, go up a seam. He's plenty capable. Luke's just a whole nother in my opinion. He's just like a totally it's almost like he's not a tight end. He is, but it's almost I mean, there's a reason in the rough thing I sent over to you. I had him standing up in the slot. I don't think he would be best served with his hand in the ground. I don't think it
Yeah.
makes sense.
You'll see that too. I mean, the thing about like the James Franklin offense and all like I was telling you last night, all of the tape that I've had to watch to try and write about this and try to predict what it's going to look like. Uh, you're going to see two tight ends. You're going to see uh, you're going to see them line up with both tight ends with their hands in the dirt on like say the right side, and then one motions over to
Motion
the left
over.
side
Yeah.
slot. Like you're going to see that stuff. And honestly, I think both Reynolds and Gosnell are versatile enough that they could do
You could see
either.
them both motion out to the
Yeah,
slot. Like both of them go out to either slot. And
yeah.
that'd really be like, whoa,
Like
whoa.
we're definitely going to see our tight ends used. I think like receivers this year. And we were talking last night. The wide receiver like depth in terms of experience, I think is going to have to dictate that anyway. And so that like compare that to last year, for example. You've got Aiden Green and who else? I mean,
Q
Donovan
Brown.
Green was
Q Brown. Oh, last
well
year,
for last
last year.
year. Donovan Green
Uh,
was kind of
Donovan Green
MIA.
was a no show. Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
I'm sure he was injured. I know. I know.
yeah.
I know.
I
I hate
mean,
that for him.
Takai Heath,
Takai was probably our second best wide receiver last year.
yeah.
All things considered. Yeah.
So you've got like two receivers essentially,
Did have playing experience in Blacksburg.
and then you don't use your tight ends hardly at all for
Keelan saw the field
receiving
for a second.
because I mean, granted the offensive line struggled, but at the same time, to me, it makes sense. Okay, if I have a limited number of receiving weapons that I can go to out wide, I need to get my tight ends involved, especially when one guy's brother is in the NFL. Uh, the talent is there. So, uh, I mean, I wrote down some stats for Benji, and I put a little note in parentheses, criminally underused, because he
Yeah.
was. 2025,
Yeah.
it was his worst statistical season, worse than even 23. 12 receptions. That's one reception per game. 86 yards, 7.2 yards per reception. That's it.
It's one reception per game to like on paper who was your second or third best weapon. Not
Yeah.
not named Hawkins, like not named Aiden Green or Hawkins. He was
Yeah.
probably your like best surefire pass catcher on the field, and he caught 12 passes last year.
And he probably won us the NC State game too, but that's besides the point. 2024, that was his best season. 32 receptions, 341 yards, only two touchdowns, but 10.7 yards per reception. It was a first down every time the man caught the ball. He reminds me a lot of Danny Cole, just like Steven, his older brother, reminded me a lot of Danny Cole. Just a very sure-handed, like you need to go get a chunk of yards, you get him the ball kind of
Where's
guy.
Benji? Yeah.
He's going to catch the ball. And so I hope to see him take a step forward. Not just like it's not on him completely. It's I think the scheme is going to do him some favors, but like I want to see him get up above the 300-yard mark again, get above the 25 reception mark again.
Okay.
Just like we're going to see Luke Reynolds shine. Like I don't think it's a tight end one, tight end two. We have two tight end ones on this roster who would start for a lot of other teams across the country. So uh, I think that tight end
I'd
room,
like to. I think in a perfect world, those guys are both up around 500 yards, somewhere up around 6 or 7 touchdowns apiece. I think that's your thanks. And also, just right before we get to linebacker, we would be remiss by Jerikas Harrison's dad if we did not mention Jerikas Harrison
yeah,
because, according to his dad, he does not have a chance to see the field this year in Blacksburg. It was a tweet that went very viral. I don't know if you saw that or not, but
yeah, I did.
uh, yeah. So he'll see the field because he's really good. And then, oh yeah, we have another redshirt senior tight end in Saint Germain, who I think is also really good. Who I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Harrison actually had a pretty solid year last season. He only played in
yeah.
5 games. Only played in 5 games. 12
So did Harrison,
receptions.
by the way.
Oh yeah, Harrison. 12
Oh,
receptions.
I thought you said Harrison. I was like,
On a
oh, you did fine, I guess.
sorry. Yeah, Jarikus Harrison played in 5 games. 12 receptions, 112 yards, 9.3 yards per reception, 3 touchdowns. So
Good player. Good
that's
player.
another really solid weapon that you've got. Saint Germain,
Former
uh,
walk on, Jarikus
yeah,
Harrison.
Saint
Shout out.
Germain only had 4 receptions last year, 28 yards, and a 7 yards per reception average. I'm looking up the spring game stats. Jarikus Harrison, 58 yards on 4 receptions and a long of 32. So that essentially matches his longest reception from last year at 33.
Yep.
Um, so I don't see anything about Saint Germain on here, but you've got like 2 tight end 1s and then a really solid tight end 2, I think, in Hairston.
I agree.
So that tight end room is stacked, and being a tight end and offensive line kind of guy like we both are, we could sit and talk about the tight ends for hours. But um, I mean, you wanna move to linebacker?
Yeah, yeah.
2 were
I
Noah Chambers.
Noah Chambers. It's. We'll see if he can take that leap. He right now he's listed as 6'1", 228. I see him out there on the field. He looks more like 235, 240. It's just me looking at him. He looks like he's put on some
Yeah,
muscle.
Jay
Um,
Ferg, man,
yeah,
Jarrett
yeah.
Ferguson.
There's a lot of well that and the new strength coach. It's
Yeah,
killing it in there. I just a few things. Chambers, obviously, I think the room should start there because he's the youngest who will start for sure, right? And that's impressive that he's a true sophomore that is going to start for Virginia Tech. That's a talented football player in a room full of redshirt seniors and juniors. He's going to find the field. That's impressive. Um, he's our best do it all linebacker. If you needed him to play outside or off the ball, he could.
yeah,
But I just think his versatility and athleticism and know how I think is best served in the middle. Uh, the second thing I wanted to touch on with linebacker is my goodness, this room is pretty good.
yeah.
And
We haven't been able to say that in a long time.
I mean
We were talking last
you're
night. I mean, what like you go back a decade, Tremaine Edmonds and Andrew
Matua
Matua-Pawaka.
Pawaka. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I think so. As far as like trying to project, I mean, I could sit here and just name every name that I like in this room, but that's not really going to do anything for anybody. Like if you want to put just two like just dudes back there, you could just throw Keon Wiley and Noah Chambers back there and say play ball. And I wouldn't hate that at all. I think
and
that'd
that's not
be
even
that's
like,
a that's a serviceable two back there.
and that's not even mentioning Caleb Spencer either.
Oh, trust me, I'm
I mean,
about to go
yeah,
off on my Caleb Spencer tangent. Caleb Spencer is, I think, the best defensive player that this team has on its field. I love Copeland, and we're going to get there in the next segment here. But
yeah,
I think that Caleb Spencer is the key that unlocks this entire thing.
yeah,
And maybe it's a guy like a Curtis Jones from West Virginia, as far as like an athletic profile that can back him up in that position where like if you want a guy on this defense that can do the things that he can. I haven't seen enough Curtis Jones open field tackling tape to know whether or not he can, but I know for damn sure that Caleb Spencer can.
Yeah.
It's a dude in there when he comes down and run fits. Watch out. And it's the same thing in pass coverage. He knows where he needs to be. He's got a nose for the ball, and when he gets to the ball, it's either down or it's his. You know,
Yeah.
and I and then so Caleb is that. I in my book, I've got Chambers beside Caleb Spencer starting. I think that's your best two, in my opinion. You could do, like I said, him and Wiley, and then throw Caleb at the star. But in my opinion, and I'll kick it to you after this, I think that Gabe Williams' profile, as long as he's healthy and ready to roll, which I haven't heard anything to suggest otherwise. So I'm just going with what I know right now. I think that Gabe Williams should be that star role, like assuming they still have that position in their defense this year.
Yeah.
I think it's Chambers, Spencer, and Williams, and you play Chambers to strength, you play Caleb to the field, and you throw Gabe wherever the hell you need him
Yeah.
because he is 6'4", 235, can run. He's got a huge wingspan. I see, as a Seahawks fan, this is our first podcast. I'm a Seahawks fan. I see Nicky Manwari when I see Gabe Williams, a guy that can play back there if you need him to. I'm sure he's got a head on his shoulders. He can figure out what he's doing in pass coverage. I'm sure. You probably in that sense. I was talking to you about this last night. If you're not showing cover three and you end up dropping into it, you'd probably rather Gabe play that hook curl and throw Caleb Spencer back there as a former safety. He'd probably figure it out a little better, but I'm sure he could, or
Yeah.
he could at least match up with a tight end down the seam deep if he needed to. But he's a guy that can run sideline to sideline, can meet at the point of attack with like a pulling guard. He can gut up and make his presence known. That those three linebackers, I'm not saying that they both play. I'm not saying that Gabe and Caleb Noah. I want to be that like middle of the field sheriff back there, kind of doing his thing. But I think that you can see Gabe and Caleb. They can be off the ball. They can be behind the ball. They can be up rushing. They can both be coming back and then show blitz. Like those two guys, in my opinion, are the most versatile guys we got back there. And them alongside Chambers, I think, is your best linebacker group, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
Haven't seen a lot of Wiley, so maybe I'm way off, and it's going to be Chambers and Wiley, and then you throw Caleb at star. I'd be fine with that too. But go ahead.
I mean, the great thing is, out of the 10 players in that linebacker room, 5 are upperclassmen, and you're going to see 6 play probably with Chambers uh, being a sophomore. So, I mean, and we were talking last night, like, if at some point you decide you want to go to like a 5-man front, for example.
I've got 7 here, Chris. Not to jump on
Oh,
you,
yeah.
I think Curtis Jones is going to see the field, and
Yeah.
this is a guy. Now, obviously, I'm throwing in Gabe Williams into that mix, but like Curtis Jones is an athlete. He played running back as well as linebacker at
Mm.
West Virginia, and I'm pretty sure he did some special teams too. So you're it's going to be some fresh dudes in there all the time. Hopefully, I'd like it to be, barring injury and all that stuff. But
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is too, there's only so much playing time to go around, and at some
yeah,
point, like if you find
you need your
your
best dudes on the field.
yeah,
Yeah,
if
yep.
you find your like 3 or 4 best guys, those are the guys that have to be on the field the majority of the time. Early in the year, I think, obviously, like VMI, Old Dominion, I think you'll see a lot more rotation because obviously those are games that you should win. Now we can't take Old Dominion for granted uh, as Tech fans, but uh, I mean, like there
Don't do
are
it to him, Chris. Don't do it.
there are like legitimately like 7 guys in this linebacker room that deserve playing time, honestly.
Th-
And so
that I don't shake in my boots if they're on the
no,
field. I'm not like, oh Lord, we had to put Antoine Santiago in there. Oh,
yeah,
he's great. I'm not
and
worried about that.
the two that really stick out to me, like you were saying, like Chambers and Spencer, they should be starting. Spencer last season, 67 total tackles, 31 solo, 36 assisted, half a sack, one pass deflection. Not too shabby for a defense that I'm pretty sure was like 10th or lower in just about everything last season. Noah Chambers last season, 43 total, 17 solo, 26 assisted, one sack, two pass deflection. Yeah, two pass deflections. I mean, it
That's a
doesn't.
football player. That's a
Yeah,
football player.
as a true freshman last year.
Yep.
Again, for a bad defense, yeah. No, give me Noah Chambers. Give me Caleb Spencer. Give me.
Give me
I,
Noah.
I liked Santiago in the spring game too. I thought he played
Yeah.
a really
Yeah.
solid game. I
He's
thought,
another guy that just has the snaps. He knows how fast the game moves at that level. Like I love Matthew Lamar from a height weight standpoint. He ain't seen the field. He don't know. And that's nothing against him. He just literally hasn't had it. So
yeah,
I'd rather let him sit and practice and learn game speed by practice, hopefully, because I think that's the kind of intensity that they want to practice with is game speed. And let them like a guy like Terry Wiggins, the highest overall recruit we had this past cycle, is only 213 pounds. We got to get some meat on those bones, but he can play. We know that, so he'll find the field. John Patrick Oates is probably more of a safety in my opinion, but hey, he's in the linebacker room for right now. So
yeah.
yeah,
I
um,
mean, the biggest thing that really stuck out to me, kind of my last note on linebacker, was
but we got a good room coming up. I'll tell you what.
yeah, uh, they looked more comfortable attacking run lanes and moving laterally sideline to sideline in the spring game than I think I've seen a linebacker room in a long time. Again, and yes, I understand you can't draw too much from a spring game, but that's the only thing we have to like base
Guys,
anything off
guys, we're
of.
trying to make content here. I mean, like,
Yeah. I mean,
what he wants to do, like,
plus
get on here and go, like, I don't know,
I don't
it's a
buy
spring
that.
game. I don't know.
I don't buy that too, like, oh, you can't draw anything from the spring game. Yeah, you actually can if you know ball. I mean, you can't you can't
You can
take it
try.
as gospel because there have been plenty of times where guys have shown in the spring game and played really well, and then they just are nowhere to be found in the season or vice versa. Like you can't take it for gospel,
Yeah,
but at the same time, they play the game for a reason, and that's to evaluate guys in a live game competitive situation with fans in the stands, the energy in the stadium, and a parachute hanging from the scoreboard. Obviously glad that he's okay. That was wild. Yeah, I mean the linebacker
me
room.
me seeing a parachuter hang off
Yeah, no,
crazy, crazy.
the linebacker room looked just really comfortable and confident,
Solid, solid group of dudes.
and
Solid group of dudes.
and that's like that's a Brent Pry coach unit. He is like
It
he is
is.
the linebacker coach on top of the defensive coordinator, and I think for me especially, and we can talk about this more in a little bit. I have been probably most nervous about like Brent Pry than I think I have anything else, and it has nothing to do with Brent Pry the coordinator or
Which
Brent
is a
Pry
heck
the
of a
person.
problem to have.
It's the fact that like 5 months
And
ago he was like the ex head coach here,
he
and
he marked this is gonna be something like you're saying. That stint in Virginia Tech football, coming from where we were, I've got my hand up here for those listening. Hand up here at the top above my head. as in late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, Bud's top defenses, da 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 da. You come from that. His head coaching tenure ended at what many Tech fans would consider the low point. That was the lowest. Post Old Dominion was the lowest point I have ever had as a Tech fan. Fact. Fact. And he, until we can win some games and until that defense can show that they're not messing around, that is going to be associated with Brent Pry. It's great that we have the band back together and we've got Coach Chaos back there. We've got Anthony Midget. We've got some coaches coaching that defense back there. But he is our coordinator. And if things don't get rolling like you want to, say we give up a few more touchdowns to Maryland than we bargained for, I'm not super happy with that. But that's football, I guess.
But if you're going to do it any year, do it this season. You know,
Yeah.
like if you're
When we're
going to
so
have
young,
some
we're so
stinkers,
yeah.
yeah. If you're going to have some stinkers, and this is like fans have jumped on me in group chats because I've said fans are like, if we don't win 8 games, it's a disappointment. Brother, this is a young team. And again, we can get to this in a little
Yeah.
bit, but like
Yeah.
I we'll circle back.
Um,
Actually, Sean Spencer is a great segue.
he is.
Probably one of the
We're
best
gonna need
defensive
him.
line coaches in the
We're gonna
country.
need him. We're gonna need him.
Let's dive into the defensive line because, to be honest with you, after our text exchange yesterday, I feel maybe a little bit more uneasy about the defensive line than I did the offensive line before that. And I feel a little bit better about the offensive line than I did. So I guess that's a
Yeah.
two-way street. But
Yeah. So for those listening, I did some digging with the D-line group coming in for the Hokies this year. Outside of I took alleged fall and Kamari Copeland out of this number as well as Emmett Laws, who sounds like he will not be with us this year. But
unfortunately,
that sounds like he passed away. He didn't pass away. He tore his ACL. It's fine. Outside of Elijah Fall and Copeland, the entire defensive line group, including tackles and ends, edges, whatever you want to call it, totaled 14 solo tackles for the entirety of the 2025 season for their respective teams.
That's not good.
It's not great, Chris. It's not. It's really not. Now, with that said, and I do want this podcast to be as optimistic as we can be without losing our realism here. I'm not trying to be like totally rose-tinted glasses, but
Tech is not going undefeated next season.
that is a fact. We are not. We are not. We're not beating Miami at Miami. And if we do,
unless they're really bad.
I might if we and they're not going to be. They're at the point now. I think they're. Well, that's another podcast, guys.
Okay.
We're just coming up with all kinds of. I'm gonna write that down, Chris.
We can dive into the schedule.
CFB preview, and if not, just our schedule, we can just talk about some of the top teams.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think that it's good. Like I said at the jump here with this group, I think it's good that we have Coach Chaos back there because the group's going to need some coaching. And I don't mean that to say the group isn't talented. I think anybody with some eyeballs can look at this group and say there's talent there.
Yeah.
Derek Dandy is what I think is going to be a good player here. Asen Stevens as a redshirt junior, it's about time you're a good player here.
Kamari Copeland's an NFL defensive tackle.
Copeland's outside of those guys, like Fall's a redshirt senior, Copeland's a redshirt senior. Those guys I need to be solid. Fall's 6'3", 300 pounds. A guy you brought up the other day, Mensa, the Ohio State transfer, 6'2", 322. That's a guy I need to produce. And then you get to a conversation about edges. And like I said with Dandy and Stevens, those are two guys that might start. I think Stevens is going to start at an edge. I don't know which one. It all depends on which side you want to play strength and what is the best guard and all this stuff. That totally depends on the opponent. But could a guy like Samuel Okunlola,
Yeah,
uh, didn't have a great year at Colorado last year, but I believe he got injured. Is that right? His
I think so.
last year at Colorado, his 2024 season was pretty good. Uh, Redshirt senior edge rusher, 6'3", 250. He's a guy that's seen time. He can play. Versus a guy like a Malachi Williams, who's a redshirt sophomore from Penn State, transferred in this year. He's, I'm sure, a good player. I know Javian Hilson had some practice tape that everybody got really excited about this winter. And when Tech fans don't have anything to look at except for Missouri practice film, we're like, oh,
Yeah,
Javian Hilson, holy moly. And that might prove to be true. A guy like Cortez Harris is a guy I've heard they like in practice. Christian Evans is a redshirt freshman who is still probably a little young, but they like. He actually was so versatile last year when the offensive line got so low. He got thrown in at tackle to see what he could do, at least in practice.
yeah.
It's a whole lot of question marks on this defensive line, and I have more faith. I have more faith than maybe I should, just because of who's coaching that group. But as far as just proven production, there's a lot to be desired, and that doesn't mean that it's not going to work because we've seen pass rush by committee before.
Yeah.
It's not the ugliest thing in the world if it works. If you keep those guys fresh and you time it the right way, there's a lot of good that can come from that.
You
So
don't have to replace Antoine Powell-Ryland with one person. I mean, 16 sacks in 2024 by himself. Tech as a team had 19 in 2025. You don't have to replace that with one person.
you can't.
No, but you need
That person
everybody.
doesn't exist on this roster.
Yeah, but
At
you
least
need.
at least that's like very apparent to me right now. I don't
Yeah,
see a guy that can pin his ears back and get 16 sacks. That's just not on
no.
this roster.
You need the tide essentially to rise, raise all boats together. One guy I'm looking to have one guy I'm looking to step up this year, Jason Abbey. Last year, he
Yep.
played 11 games, started in one. He had 17 total, 7 solo, 10 assisted, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. Um, at 6'3", 256 pounds, he's going to be a redshirt junior this year. I need to see him take a step forward. I need to see a guy like Asen Stevens take a step forward, which
Yep.
he looked solid in the
He
spring
looks
game.
big. He looks
Yeah,
big.
all these guys. I'm telling you, like the
And
strength.
at 6'5", 260, I guess he should look big, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, whatever they're giving these guys for breakfast in the morning is working because they are
Get
like
me some. Get me
they
some.
are like
Get me some.
I looked at you and I looked at my other buddy Travis, who's a Clemson fan. He was at the spring game with us. Looked at you guys when the offensive and defensive lines ran out of the tunnel for warm-ups. I was like, those are some big guys.
Hey, now.
Like noticeably bigger than last season. Um, which is
I
which is great because size and weight, just being a big guy, that's half the battle. When you're undersized, like you have to work so much harder and you have to play so much smarter. And so if
Jacquez
you're
White actually made a point about this on Liz Kitley's podcast a little
Mhm.
while back about how he's a guy that started his college football career at D2, and she asked him what's your differences having seen both, and he said your line of scrimmage is where you really get a difference. Funny enough, he was like the skills like your tailbacks, your wide receivers, your defensive backs are just guys that weren't quite recruited enough out of high school that might could have played D1 or should maybe in his case should be D1. Look at him, he's a guy that might start this year for Virginia Tech, but those guys that are undersized at the line of scrimmage, your tackles are 6'1" and not 6'8". They're 280 pounds, not 330. Like our offensive line averages out to at 320. By the way, a little hint for the next part of this segment, but uh, you're exactly right. Not having that size up front puts you at a massive disadvantage. Just before the ball's even snapped,
Yeah.
you're at a disadvantage. And so you're right. I think it's encouraging to see some dudes, especially along the offensive line, as we get into that. I last thing on defensive line. I'm glad you brought up Abby. I think after I sent you that thing I had about just roughly what I think the defensive group might look like to start the season, I think it's Abby over Malachi, and I think maybe him and Dandy rotate in at those edges, and I think maybe it's Abby and Stevens that start at those edge spots. Um, but yeah, moving into offensive line, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Um, Holy smokes, we're big. We're big, dude. I've got so if you don't mind, I I'm blown away. This is assuming that Logan Howland will be good to go come fall. I'm assuming he'll be okay. It was like a shoulder thing, right? Hopefully
I
we
think
can get
so.
right. I know it's like a re-aggravated injury, so I know those kind of things can persist. And if he's not ready, it's all right because we got options, dude. Um, so to me, how's this offensive line sound for you, Chris? Um, Logan Howland as your is it Logan? I think it's Logan, isn't it?
Maybe. Hold on, I can look.
Uh, yep, Logan Howland, 6'6", 325, redshirt junior left tackle, with a lot of playing experience at Oklahoma. Started last year for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Sound all right to you at left tackle?
And Oklahoma's always had, I feel like, big
They,
offensive
they were a
linemen.
playoff team last year, by the way.
Yeah.
Playoff team last year. At left guard, I've written two guys down because I think it's probably going to end up being Johnny Garrett at left guard because I'd like Lath Ganem to play a guard, and I think that Garrett is too good to not get on the field, and he's much more comfortable on that left side of the ball.
Yeah.
And I think he would be better served at guard if he's not going to do anything, which would hint at who I've got at right tackle. But I've got Garrett at left guard. So you've got Howland and Garrett. Johnny Garrett, by the way, 6'5", 323. Redshirt senior, left guard. Kyle Altuner at center. Not really much of competition there behind
No.
him, other than like Ricard and Lucas Austin, who are fine. They're also redshirt sophomores, and they're all they're all like 6'3", 6'4", 300 pounds. So we have like an archetype that we want
Yeah.
there at that position, which is good. I think it's good
Very
to have an
good.
idea of what you're looking for.
All the
Uh,
all the playoff and national championship winning teams have over a 300-pound offensive line on average. That's just
and
the way it is.
and so Altuner was the starter for us last year. I don't see a reason he wouldn't start this year.
No.
Good football player, young, but he's like you hear coach, offensive line coach talk a lot about him just as like a natural leader in that group. And as a freshman, for you to say that about a guy, that's
Yeah.
something. Um, right guard is where I've got Lath Ganem. He's going to start. It's just at which guard he starts at.
Yeah.
Behind him, you have guys like Aiden Lynch. Maybe he's a little tall and light. He's 6'6", 315, maybe more of a tackle build, but he's a guy that's a redshirt sophomore. You maybe like for him to see something. If it's not him at right guard, if it's not Lynch or who else did I write down? Um, one second. If it's not him or Justin Bell's another guy. He's really young, but he's the Michigan State transfer, 6'6", 327, another hoss. Uh, if it's not him, and I have Montavious Cunningham starting at right tackle, and I say that because that leaves one Brody Meadows at 6'7", 342 not on the field. If and that's a great that guy's not as a redshirt senior wouldn't be starting on our offensive line. Isn't that a crazy thing to say?
He's going to be on the
But
field.
it's true. Well,
Like,
he'll
yeah,
rotate in for sure.
yeah.
But when's the last time we've had that kind of guy, a redshirt senior, who's 6'7", 340?
I
Is
mean,
just sorry, dude. You didn't crack the starting lineup.
you
That's
might
tough, man.
see you might see him start over Cunningham. It just depends on what kind of camp
I've heard they
Cunningham
really,
has.
really like Cunningham at that
Yeah,
right tackle spot. He's
I
he's
mean,
also a grad student. Like
yeah,
he's been doing this offensive line thing. He's basically made like an actual career out of a college career,
yeah.
which is nuts. But
I mean,
with all the injuries
Cunningham,
he's had, he's been
yeah,
around it.
he's been one of those players that like I feel like they've been really excited about for several years, but for one reason or another, it's like he just never really gets
Injuries,
on
man.
the field, like,
Yeah.
injuries or like I think there was one year he didn't develop quite as much as they wanted him to.
It
Uh,
was that it was that first year.
yeah,
That first year, I think a lot of people saw him as like right tackle, and if not tackle, right guard, and he just inexplicably didn't play over who Tech
trying to remember
fans hate the guy.
Parker Clements.
That's correct, Chris. That's correct. And everybody and their brother was like, "Boy, Montavious must be rough because if he's not playing over this guy." But yeah, this is the year for Cunningham. If it's not this year for Cunningham, this is your last year, dude. Sorry, but
Well, and that's the great thing too is like there is so much experience on the offensive line. Finally, I feel like we have been in underclassmen hell for lack of a better term for 6 years now.
all those guys have grown up now.
Yeah,
Now they're ready
we've
physically,
been playing like redshirt sophomore and redshirt freshman in starting roles for half of a decade, if not more,
and
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 just
it's not
haven't.
and it's not because we wanna.
No, like
It's
out
out
of
of
necessity
necessity. Yes.
because like we've had this revolving door at the offensive line coach position, I guess if you want to call it, where it's like
Which doesn't help anything.
that guy brings his guys in, and then when he leaves, those guys leave with him because offensive line, especially like like the coach, you commit to the
Very
coach.
coach
You don't commit
dependent.
to the,
Yeah,
yeah, you don't commit to
yeah,
the program. You commit to the coach.
agreed.
So that guy comes in, he brings his guys, he leaves, those guys leave, and that's what I was saying when everybody was looking at like Penn State's offensive line coach, for example. Can't remember his name. And everybody was saying, this offseason, oh, we'd really like to have him. And I'm saying, but
And
Matt
he's
Moore,
one of the best in the country. One of the
yes,
best in the country.
but
But
so
Matt
is Matt
Moore's been
Moore.
here for 3 years.
Yeah,
Yeah. Let's
but
let's not start this whole cycle over again, is what you're
yeah,
saying, right?
and
Yeah.
Matt
I
Matt Moore Matt Moore is also one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. He
yeah.
had one of the best offensive lines at West Virginia. West Virginia.
Shout out.
Like, I mean, yeah, this is the fruit of finding a guy and sticking with him, and
Who
playing the
can
portal.
recruit, by the way?
Yeah, playing the portal to fill your needs, but building your offensive line out of high school recruiting, because that position especially, you can't plug and play, and you see that sometimes. Like a lot of fans were upset. I can't remember the guy's
Ask
name.
ask Florida State how that
Yeah.
trying to plug and play thing works year after year.
I mean, bottom line, you can't
Doesn't
microwave an offensive line. Can't plug and play you can kind of, but like
unless you're Texas
it,
Tech, in which
yeah,
case you just do whatever you want to.
it
Shout
works.
out uh, Sorsby.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Uh,
Don't have to
it works
go
so much better
back.
when you get these guys out of high school, you get them in the weight room, you keep them around for 4 or 5 years, and then you get opportunities like this where you have guys that aren't going to start who are like in grad school, which is a great place to be in. Not going to be great next season, but we're not worried about next season. We're worried about this season. So,
So real real quick as we wrap up offensive line group, and this will be the last thing I want to talk about. Uh, well, also, uh, you're right. Maybe they don't go with Cunningham, and if you just want as much mass as you want up there, you throw Brody at right tackle, and that's a unit right there of just like people movers.
and
That's nasty.
here's the thing too. James Franklin brings 6 offensive linemen on the field sometimes.
Yeah,
He'll put one in at a tight end spot in short yardage
or
situations. So,
like
like,
or like or like H back.
yeah, you're gonna see that stuff. You're gonna
Hey,
see the really unique formations and personnel and mixing and matching just
I hope
based
so.
on down and distance. So,
I want to see some cool stuff this year. It'd be
yeah,
sweet. Last thing, offensive line group. Roseby Labentis, I believe is how you pronounce his name. 6'5", 374. Freshman. Tyrell Simpson, freshman, 6'7", 354. Justin Terry, redshirt sophomore, Ohio State transfer, 6'5", 358. Brother.
some big dudes.
Brother. Marlon Bright, freshman, true freshman, 6'6", 310. He's going to put weight on. I know that number's not as big as the other three, but uh, he's going to put weight on. He'll be a starting left tackle for Virginia Tech by the end of his playing career.
Yeah,
All things go well, all coaches stay around. He'll start,
yeah,
and he should. Um, it's a group. It's crazy that we have the depth we have in this room right now. Like if it hit the fan and we had to put Justin Terry in there, a guy who I've heard might just impress enough to find the field anyway. So who cares? But like if we have to throw a redshirt sophomore in there and play, I'm down. I'm
my
okay with it.
one my one concern, and maybe this is better. This is like really the one area that it is really hard to determine based off of a spring game when you've got the offensive line split up into 2 groups.
The pass
Uh,
blocking.
Pass blocking. I did not like how often the quarterbacks were having to leave the pocket or evade pressure. Now, again, once you get your starting 5 or your starting
Shout out that Brent
rotation,
Pry defense, by the way.
yeah, no, he called a great game.
Yeah.
But I mean, once you get your starters on the field or your rotation on the field, that will probably improve because offensive line, especially, all it takes is one guy messing up his assignment and it collapses everything.
Yep.
It's like a house of cards. Once you kind of brush the wrong card, the entire thing falls down. So
But
I'm
that's
looking,
that's that's what I'm so excited about this year.
yeah,
Like if say that Logan Howland can't go. Okay, last year Johnny Garrett started at left tackle,
yeah,
and then you do get to throw a Brody Meadows in at right guard or left guard, whatever you want, and you still have Lath Ganem there. If Lath goes down, then you've got Brody and Garrett in there playing, and if Howland's healthy, if they both go down, you have your Justin Terrys of the world
yeah,
who can slide right in there and play guard if you need him to. I'm sure he's more of a tackle height weight wise, but like I mean offensive line. That's when I like shout out Chris Coleman is always talking about linebackers sticking to a spot
yeah,
in practice. Offensive line, from my perspective, at least as a guy that played line in high school, everything. Learn everything.
Yeah.
You're not going to play everything unless your name is West Virginia transfer last year. What's his name?
I can't
Can't
remember.
remember his name. Unless you're, what's his name? It's gonna upset me. Hold on. Unless you're him, you're not gonna play everything. And so you might as well just try and learn a little bit of
Tomas
everything.
Remick.
Rimac, that's right. Okay. So like you don't have to know everything, but if it hits the fan and you've got the facilities for knowing a little bit of every position and really knowing yours,
Yeah.
you're gonna be way better off. Way
But
better off.
isn't it funny how that works though? Like I played right tackle at Galax in high school under Mark Dixon, and that was his big thing. Is like, even though you are the right tackle, you need to learn the other four spots too, because
You
at
got
any
it.
given moment, say the starting center tears his ACL and is done for the year, you might be our best option at center, and all of a sudden you're having to play a new position. But isn't it funny how like that position and linebacker are the two where you can look terrible at, say, left guard and look like an NFL caliber right tackle, or you can look like an NFL caliber center and a terrible right guard. It's just
Mhm.
it's so weird how that works, but yeah, again, this is the great thing about keeping Matt Moore in house, keeping those guys in house, because those guys have had 4 or 5 years to learn the position, learn the entire offensive line. And now, like, if they are asked to move around a little bit, I'd rather ask a fifth year senior to move from one position to the other than a true freshman who doesn't even know his position yet. Um,
Definitely.
so I think we're going to see that pay dividends at some point. But that's all I've got for offensive line. If you want to,
Yeah. Yeah, it's good with me. Deep group, big group. I'm excited to see us try and build some culture in that group because that's what happens when you keep a coaching staff around. Um, DB wide receiver. Um, I'll just make my opinions known. I think that defensive back might sneaky be the best group that we have this
it's
year.
kind of interesting. Yeah,
Uh, Especially with who's coaching back there.
yeah.
I feel I feel let's say pretty good about who's handling business back there.
And I'm a big Isaiah Brown Murray guy, just right off the
Massive.
rip.
He's the man.
Redshirt
He's the man.
redshirt senior. I don't think he got as much attention last season as he deserved. I mean, he started all 12 games, 39 total, 29 solo, 10 assisted, 2 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups, 1 pick, and um, yeah, I mean, just a really solid stat line that I think a lot of fans didn't really appreciate all that much because of how bad the defense was, and how, more importantly, how bad the defensive scheme was, because they played a lot of zone. Zone is fine when you mix it in, but Sam Sifkas running like an NFL style defense where it's like cover two, cover three every single snap, you're gonna give up.
It also like that style of defense he ran. I think is a lot like two two Seahawks references in our first tech podcast. That's kind of funny.
I'm gonna have to sneak the Bills in here somehow.
You'll have to.
Yeah,
Well, you had a great opportunity when you go. Benji's brother is an NFL player. Uh,
who you almost got to golf with last weekend, by the way.
almost.
That
Uh,
man has Josh Allen's phone number.
does does. So Vic Hall is your Nichols coach, respected in the industry. Anthony Midget, former Pittsburgh Steelers defensive backs coach, pass game coordinator for the defense. That's a
Very
coach.
good coach.
That's a coach. Nick
Very good
Perry,
coach.
Arkansas defensive backs coach. Is that correct?
I think so.
Prior to, let me look at his bio real quick on the website. Uh, Went to Alabama, played under. No, he couldn't have played under Saban at Bama. No, he didn't play under Bama because he was there. Oh yeah, he did. He sure did play under Nick Saban at Bama as a defensive back. Um, yeah, he's. I mean, that's a that's a coach and a guy that's been there, done that on the field. Knows the as a history buff. You talk about like real leaders, true like generals are masters of logistics, and by that I mean you being able to know us sitting here and talking about how things project is what everybody can do because everybody can look at a paper and say this guy's this tall, this guy's this heavy, this guy's this fast. It should look like this. This guy's been on the field with the best of the best and knows what it should look like. I don't, especially at defensive back. You don't.
Yeah.
That guy knows it. He's been around it. He was coached under the best coach in the history of college football, who himself was a defensive back.
Yeah.
He gets it. So all that to say, defensive back group, as I said a minute ago, I think is the best group we've got. Like you said, IBM. That's starting. He's starting. That's
Yeah.
your corner for that side of the field, and just be like, okay, I feel good about that side of the field as a redshirt senior. He's a little on the small side at 5'9", but doesn't play it. He plays
No.
big.
Yeah.
In particular in the run game, you want to run to his side, have fun with that. Your other side of the field, defensive back, I had Jaquez White there. Um, we'll see how healthy he is coming out of the
Yeah.
spring game. He got hurt there for a second. Hopefully he's all right. Certainly let Hokie Nation know on Twitter that he was doing all right.
But even then, like you've got Cam Chadwick as well.
Yeah. So that's just who I threw in that spot because,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not in the room every day. I don't know what guys are looking like day in day out at practice. You've also got guys like Thomas Williams, who was injured for the spring game, but is a redshirt junior who's seen the field a good deal at Tech and has played well when he's been on the field. That's a good football player. Joshua Clark coming
Yeah.
off an injury, football player, redshirt sophomore, but he's got all the tools at corner. He's 6'1", 190. That's pretty much in like a prototypical NFL DB height, weight, size wise. Um, I
Kenny
and then
Wosley.
Kenny Woosley, redshirt sophomore, like you said, Cam Chadwick, redshirt junior, 6
It's
foot
a
200 pounds. Like
it's a relatively young room, but there's a lot of like
it's young, but the youth in this room, I
yeah.
think, is the most talented youth that we have on this team.
I mean, Amari Polidor, JoJo Karim, Jamari Deloach, like those are just three
In a
young
in a
guys that
in a perfect world, Polidor doesn't see the field this year.
in a perfect world, yeah.
Outside of
You
like
might have to, but
maybe special teams. Well, that's why I said perfect world. In a not in an imperfect world, he's your starter. Uh,
yeah.
but I think he could hold his water.
Yeah.
But Krim, Joshua Clark, Deloach, Polidor, Woosley, all these guys are like redshirt sophomore and younger. And outside of that, there are guys that you feel comfortable with starting. Like if you need to go IBM, Chadwick, and White out there, if you're putting three corners on the field for some reason, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But it's like Clark, he's been hurt, so it's not quite the same thing. But he's a young guy that I think he's not as surefire of like a yeah he's got it as Noah Chambers, but it's almost like that in a way where you're like he's young and he's probably playing for sure,
Yeah.
and you feel good about that. The fact that one of your redshirt sophomore guys is, if not starting, getting a good chunk of reps in a room full of redshirt seniors and juniors.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about that. That's a good player.
Well, but then you've also got a good safety room behind them too, which
Oh,
should help.
we can roll right into that if you'd
Yeah.
like.
I mean, Tyson Flowers, Jordan Bass, Sherrod Koval, those are three seniors
Sheldon
and
Robinson,
Sheldon Robinson. Yeah.
dog.
Quentin Reddish is going to be good. Knowledge Harrell's going to be good. Uh, I mean, you've got some ball players in that safety room. Um,
Reddish and Flowers are your two starters there.
yeah.
Even though Bass is a senior, and he'll play, he'll definitely play.
Yeah.
But Quentin Reddish he's a starter. He's a heck of a football player.
And he's only a redshirt sophomore too. So,
Yep,
I
yep.
mean, looking at his
A
stats,
lot like Josh Clark in a way, where you're like, he's young, but that's a guy.
I
You
mean,
know,
looking at his stats. Okay, last season he only played in 3 games, started all three, had a season-ending injury. In 3 games, he already had 15 total tackles. You know how many he did, or how many he had in 2024, where he played all 12 games? 20. So through 3 games, he was only 5 off of his career high in total tackles. He had 9 solo last year, uh,
that
6 assisted.
unfortunately also speaks to the level of play from our linebacker group, but that's neither here nor there.
Yes, but
Um,
but that is still. I mean, you got to make the tackle. You got to tackle the guy in front of you, right? Um, and so, if he can stay healthy, he'll be a good one. A good
he
one to
will.
watch.
But yeah, the safety group. I mean, I said Reddish and Flowers are the guys that I think are gonna end up on the field, but Bass and Koval are seniors, true
Yeah,
seniors. Um, Sheldon Robinson last year got some play. I don't think he's probably going to see the field a whole lot this year, given the top six guys that we do have. Um, but he could if you needed him to. You know what I mean? He could find his way out there.
yeah,
Uh, just a good that whole defensive back room is just it. They got it, which is not exactly what you would say about the wide receiver group. If we'd like to get to the wide receiver group,
yeah,
I this is a group that I think you would be friendly to say was top heavy,
yeah.
um, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing if you can find some guys on the back end that can contribute.
And very
But
young too.
Aiden Green is your dude. Quayshawn Brown, he's a player. He'll start.
I mean, Mar-
what do you, where do you go
Mar-
from there?
Marley and Jackson, redshirt senior, transfer from Louisiana
AJ
Tech.
Brand.
Yeah. Jackson, he played in 10 games for Louisiana Tech last year. 20
He's a football
receptions,
player.
20 receptions for 370, 2 touchdowns. That's not anything to sneeze at. Granted,
He's
it's
also a big receiver at
yeah.
6'2", 207. That's a big body out there. You know,
Granted, I mean that's against Conference USA defensive backs, which I mean,
guys, have
take
you
it
ever
or
heard of
leave it.
Bashal Tootin?
Yeah, NCAA, man.
Come on now, come on
I
now.
mean, Tyseer
He's in the
Denmark.
like pantheon of tech tailbacks and transferred in from North
I mean,
Carolina. I feel I no longer care about where you transfer in from. If you
Yeah.
come in and you contribute,
Yeah.
cool, cool.
I mean, and then another transfer, Tyseer Denmark. He came with Franklin from Penn State. Played in 8 games, only 2 receptions for 17, and then 1 rush for 12.
And that's a good way to kind of segue into my biggest issue with this room outside of green,
Brown.
brown, and throw Takai in there. Although Takai really small and had some hand problems last year, which is not what you're looking for in a starting wide receiver. So,
Yeah.
be that as it may, there's just not the wide receiver room is it mirrors the defensive line room almost to a T, where you have your Aiden Green, call him your Copeland,
Yeah.
have Quayshawn Brown as your Elijah Fall, throw Takai in there as your uh, uh, Asen Stevens, sure,
Yeah.
whatever. You just don't have guys that have really done it. Marley and Jackson, like you said, that's a guy that I'd rather have him on the field than Takai, especially when Takai Heath, in my opinion, is just like a not as good Quayshawn Brown to me. So if he's number two at his own spot, it's Green, it's Jackson, and it's Brown. And then if injury happens, you're rooting for guys. Now, Brody and Chance Wiggins are two guys, Brody Adams and Chance Wiggins are two guys that since they have stepped foot on this campus, I have wanted to be able to perform at a high level and see the ball thrown their way.
Yeah.
Keelan's had more opportunities than Chance because Chance seems to have been hurt more often than Keelan, at least for the little bowl action that Keelan had against Minnesota. But um, these are guys that look like and were touted as guys that can be your number 1 and 2 receivers in 2 to 3 years. Well, guess what? It's been 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And we'll see. That I'm working on an article right now for Hokie-Hi, and I'm kind of doing like a one-word uh, just like a roundup
Summary.
for
Yeah.
of each group, and that was my thing for wide receivers is we'll see. Like if you because if people get hurt, we're gonna see
Yeah.
Keelan out there. We're gonna see Chance out there. Chance looked good in the spring game, but like you said, can't take a whole lot from the spring game because even though Chance was on the white team and the maroon was most of your starters, like it's going to look and feel different against another team's starters.
Yeah.
He has every tool you want as an X. He to me on paper, it's Green, Jackson, at least from a production standpoint, Jackson has to be your number 2. But Chance is so fast for his size. He's so athletic. He has great hands. He was an Under Armour All-American. I need to see him on the field.
Yeah.
I need to see him on the field. I need to know what he and Keelan can do. And if that comes by way of injury, that's not how I'd like it to happen. I don't want a guy like Aiden Green, knock on wood. I don't want a guy like him to go down. I don't want a guy like Brown to go down. But a guy like Peterkin could find his way on the field. Apparently, he's been playing well enough. Tyseer and Tyseer Denmark, Jeff Exenor, guys that have, looks like they've been playing pretty well. Cam Sparks had a touchdown in the spring game, redshirt freshman, 6'2", 225.
Yeah.
That's a big body receiver. He
Well,
can get on the field. I'm not saying that Chance has like a clear runway to see the field, but he's been here for long enough and been coached by a guy who I think is like in that top 10-ish group of wide receiver coaches in the country.
Yeah.
Like he should be able to find his way onto a football field this fall.
Well,
He's
let's
so talented.
let's like circle back up to the top of the room because I want to read off some stats. Big stats guy. And then kind
One
of
thing about Chris Payne, big stats guy.
yeah, and then like jump down to a third name that I'm kind of looking at here. And again, like your tight ends will hopefully be utilized a lot more. So you don't need four,
You don't
five,
need
six.
six receivers. You're
Yeah,
exactly right.
you
Exactly right.
need three, and then a fourth really solid one on top of your two or three tight ends. I think I'd be happy with that for this season. Okay, Aiden Green,
Yep.
31 receptions, 516 yards, 16.6 yards per reception, 3 touchdowns, and a long of 67. And that's with a quarterback that really
Should have
struggled
been
with
way
receivers.
more. It should have been way more.
Yeah.
He's so
Qu-
good.
Quayshawn Brown playing with Darian Mensah at Duke. 64 receptions, 846 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 13.2 yards per reception. That is over 1,000 yards between the two of them. And that's if Aiden Green can produce more than just 516 with a good quarterback this year. Okay, so I feel really good about that. If Takai Heath, who is 5'9", 172 pounds, say he puts on 15, 20 pounds, which he looked maybe a little bit bigger, I thought, a couple Saturdays ago. But if he puts on maybe 15 pounds of muscle this offseason, this is a guy who last season he played in 9 games, started 7, 22 receptions for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. If he can take a step forward again with a good quarterback,
Yeah.
there's your third receiver, maybe even your fourth. Uh, say if another guy can step up, but again, like that tight end room is going to cover a multitude, I think. Because like
I hope
again,
so.
like your Aiden Green, Quayshawn Brown, they're going to be your two big guys. Marley and Jackson, I would say, would probably be number 3 if he steps up, and then from there, it's like say uh, say Takai Heath puts on some muscle, like I said, or AJ Brand really surprises people at wide receiver, or Cam Sparks or Tyseer
It's
Denmark.
just a lot of question marks and a lot
Yeah,
of hoping guys take steps and a lot
yeah,
of like things that an optimist like ourselves, at least as far as tech football goes, it's so easy for us to just like look at that group and be like, well, if this guy does this and this guy does this and this guy does this, but
yeah,
in reality, they're probably not. You know why? Because that would require them seeing the field.
yeah,
And barring injury, like you said, the tight end group will hopefully be able to produce in a way that doesn't leave the wide receivers in need of covering for a lack of production from the tight end group. Does that make sense? So
yeah,
then if you're like you said, if you're getting on the field, Luke, Benji, and Jarikus, not I mean, obviously not all at one time, but you're gonna be asking less of that receiver group from a
yeah,
group in the receivers that you're already not seeing a ton of like proven spots in anyway.
yeah,
So this might be a kind of thing where like talking about I'm talking about Chance and Brody like I want them to take that step. They are just still redshirt sophomores, so I understand that. Green is a senior. Takai's a redshirt junior. Marley and Jackson's a redshirt senior.
yeah,
Quayshawn Brown's a redshirt junior. Some of these guys are going to be leaving
yeah.
this next year. Green will be leaving. This is his last year.
Jackson
I
will be leaving. Yeah,
Jackson will be leaving. There's going to be spots opening up next year,
Quayshawn
and
Brown could go to
I
the
see
NFL maybe.
like like a conversation we had last night um, about quarterback and a gripe that I had last year about how we did not get to see Keldon Ryan on the field last year. I think that was a an error in talent evaluation. Like we had a chance to try and figure out what he was, what his tendencies are, whether he can stay in the pocket, whether he can make a step up in that pocket, how he throws the ball, where he likes to throw the ball,
Yeah.
and you know what we know instead? Nothing. We know nothing because he never saw the field. And like I said last night, I wish that we would have tried to make an effort to see, but instead we've got Ethan Brunkmeyer who will play, who will start, who will be our guy, and then you've got two redshirt freshmen who we'll see. Instead of a redshirt sophomore starting a Keldon Ryan who at least you know what he is.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, then you know Bryce is probably your guy at two. And there's
Yeah.
not this back and forth of like they can talk all they want about feelings not being heard and it's a brotherhood. Like guys having egos at this level is a thing. Like you
Yeah.
can, especially at the quarterback position, you're not gonna. And now that there's not a spring portal window, Keldon's just here, regardless of what happens. So I wish a lot like Chance and those guys. Like if Donovan Green wasn't going to do anything last year, let's see what Chance Wiggins has.
Yeah.
If Takai's having trouble catching the ball, hey, there's a guy Brody Adams over there. He's an athlete. Let's go see what he can do.
Well,
And like I've said, I don't know how many times in this podcast, I'm not in the room. I'm not in practice. I'm not sure the kind of effort they're giving in practice. If guys like Chance and Keelan aren't giving it what they can in practice and not giving the coaches a reason to put them on the field, I'm not
yeah.
saying that's what they were or weren't doing, but those kind of things are that's the information as podcast hosts that aren't at practice every day. That's the kind of thing that we're not privy to, which is fine. It leaves us in this nice little like ignorance is bliss world where we get
Yeah.
to sit here and pick out what we want to do with it. But I I wish we had gotten those guys a ball or two last year to see, or hey, throw a screen and see if they can run block.
Yeah.
Just that kind of thing. But instead, we know nothing. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
let's and we can sort of wrap up
yeah,
talking maybe we can do a whole podcast I think breaking down the schedule and
yeah.
expectations and stuff like that, but like to
Briefly,
me to me let's let's go back to Pry's best season as head coach, 2023, I would say.
7-6.
Um
Is that right? With
yeah,
a bowl win over Tulane.
yeah.
Kyron
Okay,
Drones coming out party.
you had a decent Kyron
Yeah,
Drones.
yeah,
You had Bashal Tootin, who's one of probably the 3 or 4 best running backs in Virginia Tech history.
yep.
Uh, and then you had
At
like
least top five.
4 or 5, and that's a podcast for itself too. Because I mean, Kevin Jones, David Wilson, there's so many great ones. But
Just
sorry,
run it up. Yeah, yeah, it's great.
uh,
Great.
I mean, and then you had like what
It's a room full of history.
probably 5 really solid like NFL level receiving options: Stephen Gosnell, um, Daquan Felton, Daquan Wright, uh,
Jalen Lane.
Jalen Lane. You had Benji Gosnell. I mean, there's 5 right there, and I
And
probably
then
haven't
and
even listed
then
everybody.
and then guess what? They all came back.
Yeah,
Every guy you just listed came back to the program.
other than Daquan Wright, I think he went to Ole Miss,
Oh well,
but
yeah, yeah.
everybody else,
Sorry.
yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah.
I mean,
And
so
what
I
did we do with it, Chris? Tell
wasted it.
tell the people what we did with that group.
We
Anyway,
wasted it.
we did.
So
Soiled it.
there's
Soiled it.
5 there's 5 receiving threats right there, okay?
Yep.
Tight end this season. Gosnell, Reynolds, Hairston. There's 3. And that's
Yep.
not even counting St. Germain.
Yep.
So there's 3. Okay.
And
Let me
then you
scroll
just
up a little bit.
list your
Aiden
top
Green.
three linebacker, or your top three receivers, and you're
A-
already kind of there.
yeah, Aiden Green. Okay. Sorry, I'm Quayshawn Brown and probably Marley and Jackson. So there's six.
Jackson.
And
Yep.
that's not even counting like again, say Brody Adams has a good season. Say Chance Wiggins has a good season. Say Takai,
There
like we've
there
got
will be a guy in that receiver room that
who
pops up
surprises.
that
Yeah.
we weren't expecting. Yeah, I agree.
So all that to say, Tech can absolutely have a halfway respectable offense this year, and that's all it's going to take to win 7 games. I think with this schedule
Yeah.
is just have like a offense that doesn't go 3 and out every drive and is just somewhat respectable. And that's not even counting. We have a better quarterback too. Like
We
Ethan
do.
Grunkemeyer right now is a better quarterback than Kyron Drones was in 2023. And that's no shade to Drones at all. No shade. But
Lack of
that's
good
just where we
coaching and
are.
poor health on
Yeah,
Kyron's part did him
absolutely.
in some ways that I don't think he deserved.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, it's a what have you done for me lately business, and he didn't do a lot for us lately, and fans reacted how they reacted.
And
It's
I'm not
that's
one
what
of
it
those
is.
fans that hopes that he falls on his face at Green Bay. I really hope that he can figure it out and he can be like the next Malik Willis kind of success story uh, of like the Packers developing quarterbacks. But yeah, I mean Grunkemeyer is a better quarterback. So
Yep.
you're already, and then not even counting like again, you had Tootin in 2023 and he was like the running back. I mean,
He's
Malachi
your dude.
Thomas wasn't bad, so on and so forth. But like, you've got like 3 running backs on this roster that are all like really, really
All
solid.
three of them are capable of being a workhorse,
Yeah,
but we're not going to ask any of them to. And
Hawkins.
that we can get into a that's a podcast. That's a whole nother podcast
Yeah,
for another day. Is like offensive philosophy. Do you want one guy? Because what happens when you get one tailback on the field for 20-25 carries a game is they get like a game speed sense,
yeah,
and they can feel how the game's going. And there's an argument to be made that if you rotate guys, none of them quite get that like speed thing down. But I am more in the camp of fresh legs mean bigger plays later in the game,
yeah,
and especially if we play with tempo, because we didn't even touch on that because that's
yeah,
also going to be in another podcast. But the spring game, I think if you take Franklin at his face value of what he was saying, that the spring game will be like kind of a sense of what it'll look like on offense. Tempo is going to be a huge part
yeah,
of what we do because we were like NASCAR package
yeah.
for the first 10 or so plays with Grunkenmeyer in the game, or sorry, Grunkemeyer in the game. It was snappy tempo,
I would
and
look down at my
I like
phone to
it.
take notes. I would look down to take notes, and
Next
like
play's happening. Yeah,
literally
I
the next play
couldn't
is
keep up. Couldn't
I'd
keep up.
look up and another
Yep,
play had gone by. You know,
yep,
so like
totally.
this offense, I think, is deep enough to cover up for the amount of question marks we have at wide receiver. We don't
Yep,
we don't need 5 wide receivers to show up. We need 3 to be really solid and a fourth to be reliable. And then otherwise, like we've got tight ends, we've got Overton, Hawkins, and Davis. And my dad is a big advocate against running back by committee. He could not stand that when Justin Fuente was here. He was like, just put Steven Peoples in the game, give him the ball.
like I
Uh,
said, it's all it depends on how you look at the game, and especially if we're playing with tempo and we're gonna be it's a whole nother can of worms. But do you run the ball to set up the pass, or do you pass to set up the run? But like
yeah,
if we do what I think we should, which is run to set up the pass, like if you're running more often and more often in a sense of like more like tempo wise, you're running the ball more and you're doing it more often than pass, you're going to need to rotate guys. You
Yeah.
can't keep one guy in the game for a 10, 11 play drive and he runs 7 times and expect
Yeah.
ball security to not become a problem, because that's what happens when guys get tired is you cough up the ball. Ask
Yeah.
Facial Tootin. That's a whole nother thing about like in the draft for him, that was something that came up a lot was ball security. When you carry the ball 30, 35 times a game,
Yeah.
you might cough it up. That's just something that happens. Yeah, sure.
Uh,
But yeah,
it,
totally.
and I think his issue was more of like Peoples would break off a long run and then they would immediately take him out. Or Trayvon McMillan would break off a long run and they would immediately
And
take him
then comes
out.
Steven. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you gotta. It's a fine line between getting
Momentum's a
guys.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
getting guys
Yep.
going and then like giving them a break versus taking them out like too soon. Like so.
Yeah.
That's another podcast for another day. But yeah,
Yeah.
bottom line, offense is absolutely deep enough everywhere else, I think, to cover up for the wide receiver question marks that we have. Um, but
Pass rush and on the defensive side of the
yeah,
ball, just bullet points real quick. Pass rush by committee, a lot like the wide receiver room. Um, your linebackers, like we touched on, solid group. Your corners, solid group. Your safeties, solid group.
yeah,
Feel good about everything on the defensive side of the ball, except for like where our pass rush will come from.
yeah,
I'm sure it will, because we've got two of the better defensive minded coaches in the country. Who Pry I still consider to be that. At Penn State he was coaching top 10 defenses like year in year out. I'm not
yeah.
I don't think that just goes away, you know. Um, and then you've got uh, Chaos back there. Him and Pry I trust can find a way to stunt if you need to, but get people
Mm,
home. Especially if your coverage on the back end is better, if your linebackers are where they need to be in pass coverage, that just gives defensive line more time to get home.
yeah,
And if things break down and your defensive ends aren't able to get to the quarterback, then pass rush really looks bad. Because then if they're not getting there fast enough and routes open up before they should, that's a problem. But I think I think the I think the back end of our defense is going to help out the lack of like provenness from our line in a big way.
yeah.
On paper, I think it should.
I
Um,
mean, I'm just looking at the schedule, and again, we'll we'll dive into that later. We'll do a
yeah,
deep dive episode.
of the schedule, yeah,
I
yep,
see I see 6 wins that are absolutely like you
gotta
you
have them.
should win those games. VMI, Old Dominion, Maryland, Boston College, Cal, and Stanford. Um,
Yep.
which going to Cal, that's going to be tough for the time difference. But
I don't know what Georgia Tech's quarterback room looks like this year, but Haynes
mm,
King was their offense for a little bit,
yeah,
and uh, he's not there anymore, Chris. I don't know
yeah.
if you knew that or not. And also, they're playing in Blacksburg, Virginia this year. That's a fun one.
So that
Um,
leaves Pitt, which
Pitt,
they I feel like are always a solid team, but maybe Pitt, maybe Georgia Tech,
Pitt's
maybe
Pitt's
it,
always going to be well coached.
yeah,
They're always going to have like an
like
okay enough caliber athlete.
a
They're
tough defense.
they're always going to run the ball really well. That's just who Pitt is under Pat Narduzzi. That's just what it does. So yeah,
If my
Pitt is almost like Pitt as a play style and like caliber of team is almost like what Georgia Tech was under Paul Johnson
yeah,
with the triple option thing. You just know what you're getting when you play Pitt,
yeah,
which is both a good and a bad thing, I guess. But um, like you were saying, that leaves Pitt, that leaves at Clemson, that leaves at SMU, and it leaves at Miami.
well,
That's
and
that's
I was just
for. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just like listing off like the question mark games. Like
Oh, yeah.
my
Go ahead.
buddy Travis doesn't. again, the Clemson fan, he doesn't think Clemson's going to be that good this year. Who
We'll see.
knows? I mean, you're going into a really tough environment with a younger-ish team.
That coach, I'm a little weary of the not good anymore thing because I
Yeah,
think you're going to see that coaching staff with their back against the wall like you haven't seen before, and
yeah.
that's interesting.
SMU, you never know what you have with them.
I'll
Miami,
tell I'll tell you what you have. You have an ACC championship contender in
yeah,
SMU, so
and that's
that's
that's in Dallas too. So
with like a third year starter at quarterback. That's
yeah,
a and Rhett Lashley, one of like the best head coaches in the country.
yeah.
That's a really good football team down there in Dallas,
And then I mean,
which for some reasons in the ACC. But
and then question marks with Miami. Can they get back to what they had last season, or did they lose too much? And then Virginia, like very similar question. Virginia's certainly a much more winnable game than Miami, I think, but because that one's in Blacksburg, so you're gonna have to go on the road and win at least
we
probably
need a statement game from that Virginia game, like Prize first year going up to
yeah.
Charlottesville, kind of like butt whooping kind of thing.
You're you,
I need
you're
that.
gonna have to you're gonna have to go on the road at either Clemson, SMU, or Miami and win at least one of those games. I think
Pick off one.
if you
Yep,
want to get 8 wins. Um,
I agree.
but yeah, man,
8 or 9, kind
yeah.
of depending on Pitt and Georgia Tech. Yep,
And again, we'll get back to that because I think fans have gone a little
yep.
overboard maybe with some of the projections and stuff.
I agree.
I think anything between 6 and 8 wins, you can be okay
Can
with.
be all right with that,
Anything 8 plus,
depending on how you look against those big dogs.
yeah,
If you go down to Miami and
you lose a
you
tough
crap the
game,
bed, that's not good. Or if you do what you said and you play well and you lose on a field goal in the last 2 minutes,
or you get screwed over by the ACC.
oh,
Uh,
that's never Chris. That's never happened. What do you even?
yeah.
Don't even say that. That's never happened before.
Well, anything eight
To a Tech
plus,
team in Miami, no.
yeah. Anything 8 plus, I think you can be just
That's
thrilled
gravy.
with.
That's
But
gravy. Yeah,
uh,
I agree.
I told you last night though, like I'm trying to be realistic here with expectations. The moment if we hang 70 on VMI, dude, I'm gonna tell so many lies. I just am. Like
I
that's
think if
just
we, yeah,
that is going to happen.
I might too. I think somewhere between, like you said, 6 and 8 is, I think, where a realistic fan would look and be like, all right, 6 being at the low end and kind of being disappointed.
Yeah.
Not kind of. I'd be disappointed in 6 wins if you put the money into this program like you have this year and you give me 6 wins. I'll be like, all right, but I better have more than that next year. I'll tell you that.
Because that
But
means you lost a bunch of games on the road. Um,
two
but
two good teams, but we're asking ourselves to be one of those good teams.
I mean, Clemson's not a national championship contending team anymore.
Not right
Certainly,
now, no.
certainly they could be like an ACC championship contending team. So, like, really, you've got Clemson, SMU, and Miami all on the road. All any of those three teams, it wouldn't surprise me if they were competing to play in Charlotte this season.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, ideally, you want to go 1 and 2, or one for three, I guess, in that
Ideally, I'm
stretch.
going 4-0. I don't know what you're talking about,
Well, yeah,
but realistically, it's like we're probably not winning any of those games,
yeah,
which is what it is. But it feels good to have a team when you go down to Dallas. You're like, hey, we'll see. It's not like it was Prize first year when we went down to play Florida State when they had Jordan Travis
yeah,
down there. We were like, oh boy,
yeah.
oy, oy, oy. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we can
that's
dive.
a good spot to
Yeah, we'll
end it.
dive
I
more
think.
into
Yeah,
that stuff in the future. We didn't touch on special teams, but it's going to be the John Love show. Just that just is what it is. So,
Oh, well, shoot. I guess I did have one note about special teams, and it's
or,
less about the like kickers, punters, but just when you have, and it's real fast. When you have the kind of depth that we have at linebacker and at defensive back, those groups are going to be really good because all those guys that were like, hey, are they going to see the field? They're going to be on the field in special teams. So all
yeah,
that talent that we're like, man, those rooms are deep. They sure are. And guess what? They'll be on punt coverage. They'll be on kickoff. They'll be on kick return. Yeah, it's
yeah.
good.
Well,
So
I think that's a podcast.
we shot for
Uh,
an hour. We're at an hour 45. So it's lit.
could be worse.
It could be worse.
Yeah, I
It's like
mean,
every phone conversation we've ever had about that football. Just
yeah,
kind of fun.
if you guys have any suggestions for stuff that you want to hear on the podcast or things you want us to talk about, leave a comment. I'm sure this will be up on YouTube at some point. Leave a comment there. All the stuff. I'm not going to ask for likes or anything because we do this for the love of the game. And
We
if
do.
nobody listens to this, then at least we had fun doing it. So if you listened this long to the two of us just rambling on and on about
Throw it on in the
stuff,
car, fellas.
yeah,
You know,
that's what I do. Go to the gym.
everybody's got to commute.
Yeah.
You know?
Throw it on in the gym or whatever. But yeah, I think that's a podcast. So
It is.
yeah, thank you all for listening or watching, and go Hokies.
Go Hokies.